Okay. And I'm also I like to go live as well. So if that's okay, we're going to do that. Just give it a technical moment. Okay. Cool. Okay, so let's take a minute and kind of just discuss what we're doing here today and who we're here to actually honor. So of course, it seems like my notes disappeared on me. I'll just bring them back right now. But we're here to be speaking about Hecate. This might be someone who you know nothing about, or this might be someone who I'm going to be telling you stuff that you already know. But I always feel it's good to be grounded in an understanding of who we're working with. And you might hear things that kind of resonate with you in a new way that you might not have resonated with you before. Or you might just be kind of open to hearing things that you might also just literally never have known. So with that all in mind, who is Hecate? Let's talk about her. She is a Greek goddess of magic, witchcraft, the night, the moon, ghosts, and also necromancy, and kind of a rising of the dead, and especially a rising of the ghosts. She's actually the only child of Titans Perseus and Asteria. Zeus actually gifted her power over heaven, earth, and sea. So she's really got a lot going on. She's literally controlling the skies, the earth that we stand on, and the waters. She's kind of amazing that way. She's also connected to the underworld, but we'll be speaking about that in a second. So beyond that, let's see. The other truth is, or the other thing that's important in terms of associations, which I'll be talking a lot about today, is that she's often associated with Demeter and Persephone. Persephone, for those who came to the autumn equinox, and who may just know Greek mythology, of course, is the queen of the underworld, who perhaps under unfortunate circumstances is the queen of the underworld, but I personally love her. I find her power to be very unique and very important. And Hecate actually is the one who assisted Demeter in finding her daughter by carrying two flaming torches through the night. And when Persephone was kind of charged with becoming kind of the queen of the underworld, Hecate actually took it upon herself to become Persephone's minister and companion. So she's deeply connected to the underworld and deeply connected also to the flame in that way. So something else to keep in mind, but she's also very much connected to specific animals. Most importantly, black dogs and a kind of ferret-like creature called a polecat. So if you ever are seeing the black dogs, you're ever seeing the ferrets, or the polecats, a mustelid, then you may very well be visited by Hecate. It's interesting because Black Death in this case is coming through the goddess, which I think is kind of exciting and interesting. And of course, it's just a very powerful goddess energy already. So very fun. If you're not familiar with her form, what's interesting about Hecate is that she actually almost resembles a Hindu goddess in a way, because she has multiple heads and multiple kind of bodies and arms. So she's sort of a triple goddess the way Shakti is. And that's in part because of her also kind of power over liminal space as a goddess of crossroads, a goddess of portals and of doorways. If you've heard of Janus in the Roman tradition, she's kind of like a female counterpart with all of these other things. And the other thing, of course, that I'm neglecting to mention is Hecate is actually very much related in the Egyptian kind of pantheon, because there's literally an Egyptian goddess named Hecate. And Hecate is the wife of Tahot or Thoth in some traditions. It's either Hecate or Seshet. Sometimes there's another one who's associated with him. But Hecate is kind of also a chthonic deity, a deity of the underworld. And more than that, she can also be related to kind of the writing when we think of her in the Egyptian context. But what's amazing is that her connection to Mercury is sort of unmistakable. Now, I am a Virgo, so I personally love Mercury, Hermes, Tehot, Thoth, and Odin. If you come to my classes, I've spoken a lot about Hermes, so today's not the day to fully get into his story, but it's important that we respect Hermes in this way, and that's why he's here on the altar with us, along with Hecate and Ishtar, and we've also got Freya and Durga Shakti here with me, kind of in the foreground. It just didn't work with the setup here, but Hermes is very important, and in fact, some cults in Greece actually believed that Hecate and Hermes were husband and wife. What's interesting is if anyone's read the book Circe, so in Circe, Hermes is actually also associated romantically with Circe, and Circe is Hecate's daughter, so I'm not really sure how that worked out, but I know that Hermes is not Circe's father, so it's fine. But anyway, long story short, Hecate and Hermes are actually sometimes considered to be partners. So how wonderful that Hecate and Thoth in the Egyptian tradition also are basically also husband and wife. So what's important is when we connect them, it's through these kind of the cults that represent that, worshipped them, I should say. They were actually also named Chthonios as Hermes and Chthoniia as Hecate. So they actually both took on the name of being related to the underworld. And why does that make sense? Because as we know, Hermes actually is a messenger who would carry souls into the underworld, take them to Chiron's boat, and basically allow them to be ferried into their next life. More than that, Hecate is, or in the other sense, I guess I should say, sort of opposed to that and reflection of that, Chthoniia or Hecate actually is the one who leads them back up as ghosts. So if there is resurrection to be had for the dead, again, the necromancy, as we mentioned, though that's more in kind of the witchcraft context, but also I think in terms of hauntings, she's the one who will kind of bring them back. Even if we're asking for visions or divination, something like this is when Hecate actually comes. So in that way, they're really two faces of the same coin. They're both guides of the dead, and they're both kind of guides of the underworld. And also there's this connection to the skies because, Hermes is a flyer. He literally can fly. So he's flying in the sky. She's in the sky already. It's a wonderful connection. So Hermes will be joining us today, or Mercury, but he is kind of going to be introducing us, especially if you've been in my classes before. We've worked with Hermes so much, I just felt that it made sense that someone who we might know already will be introducing us to someone new, even if she's not new to many of us that are here today. So with that in mind, let's see. The only other things that I would like to mention is, because Hecate is kind of this chaotic figure, welcome in that kind of divine feminine, that divine power kind of the receiver and of kind of the medicine women, because that's really who she is. But she's powerful, this kind of chaos energy that I'm talking about is one in which she's strong, there's great strength to her power. And many of the goddesses are strong, but she's really not someone to be like messed with, and I think that's very important in this context, especially because she's at the crossroads in the liminal space and kind of chaos. So there's this sense that when we're working with the magic and we're working with kind of the discord, though Eris, of course, is actual discord, just be open to the fact that, she's going to be kind of leading us with that great power over kind of the unknown. And I did mention that Lilith would also be in this class, so I wanted to take a moment to talk about Lilith, because that's also that kind of chaotic energy, maybe that sort of strong feminine energy that might not always be associated with good. Hecate herself is associated with good and evil, very much like Durga Shakti that way. So again, with that kind of multi-armed warrior goddess energy of someone who kind of rules over, the literal kind of understanding of what is good, what is evil. But with Lilith, who is another kind of mother of witches. We talked about this in Babylon class, and because I'm I'm Babylonian, I'm Iraqi in my heritage, I just thought it would be important to mention Lilith is a very complicated figure, and so I invite any who are working with her to kind of proceed with caution, not only because of kind of the difficulty of working with her, but because there's many who are, this is me kind of reading the word on the street, the vibe in the room, and many who are Jewish would actually, and I can't speak for all Jewish people, but this is again kind of the concept, basically me trying to understand how can we respect all traditions and all deities. So there are those who come from the Jewish tradition who would say that Lilith is in fact like owned by the Jewish tradition, and the people of the Torah. So let's be respectful of that when we're working with that, and that she kind of is from a culture um, that might not be ours, and so be understanding that even if we all grew up as people of the book, she might be someone who we can understand in full context. For example, another thing is Lily too. Lilith can often be considered very much related to the Babylonian Lily too. Lily too comes even from Sumerian, some of the first kind of city states. And she's actually a demon. So when we think of Lilith as a demon, of course, first of all, she wasn't necessarily a demon. She later becomes one, but she in the Torah is more of like the first woman who kind of believes in feminism, and in that specifically kind of Jewish facing context. Lily too, of course, is sort of a baby stealer and someone who is, we can think of her as La Llorona in Spanish context, but she's sort of that ancient Sumerian Babylonian version of that. So with all this said, what I invite you to think about as we're working with Lilith, working with Lily too, working with all of this energy, is that often Lilith, as we think of her, is actually Ishtar or Ereshkigal, I should say, who are Babylonian goddesses. I didn't bring it, of course, but if you've ever seen the Burney relief, many people have actually mistranslated the Burney relief as being Lilith, but she's actually Ishtar Ereshkigal. And so kind of taking a moment with all of that mythology and modern mythology that's come afterward with Lilith, just also being honoring and respectful of the fact that there's many names for this woman, this goddess, this energy, and we're just honoring all the communities that have kind of given us this energy. So I will be calling in a kind of Lilith energy as respectfully as I can, but I will also be strongly calling in Ishtar here, Ishtar, because I feel that that is in some ways the heart of what we want to see when we see Lilith. And Ishtar specifically is, of course, very strong woman, very headstrong, does not take anything from anyone, literally will kill a man. So the energy is there. You don't lose anything by working with Ishtar. But that's my 2 cents. And of course, it's always your choice at the end of the day. But this is sort of my taking research and kind of trying to respect all traditions. Finally, the last goddesses that may be here, as I mentioned, are Freya and Durga, Shakti. So if you kind of are feeling that Shakti energy or Freya, they are also rulers of good and evil and magic, sorcery. So I'll be kind of calling them. I welcome, we haven't done a full class on Freya or Shakti, so, receive if they're there for you to receive. Otherwise, we can just kind of let them come in and bless us as well. So with all of that said, I think it's kind of time, well, I know it's time to begin our invocation and our meditation. So I'll just introduce what we're doing today, just so you're not like totally in the weeds. We're going to be going through 2 meditations today. One will be a meditation that I've based. I really wanted to kind of bring in the sort of witchcraft mindset with respect and with my kind of background working with medicine work, working with, shamanism, and also kind of my Babylonian heritage, which is, as I like to call it, sorcerer priesthood, working as an exorcist which in this case, exorcism kind of relates to shaman, relates to medicine worker. It's really just another way to look at kind of sorcery, magic, medicine healing, wizardry, witchery. So all that said, speaking of that, I guess with all that said, Babylon will be coming through Babylonian work. If you took the Muklu Magic series, you'll recognize it in the second meditation, but we'll be doing our 2 meditations today. The first, I spent some time working on research of chaos magic. So I know that's a big term, but it's not frightening at all, I promise. Because what's very interesting is the connection between chaos magic and meditation is it's basically Buddhism done in kind of a Western witchcraft style. And so we're going to be kind of doing focal point meditation in the first to really kind of ground us, relax us, bring us into the now with, as I'm saying, kind of focal point, nothingness meditation. The second one is both similar and different to deity work I've done in the past, which in this case includes going to a temple. In this case, it's going to be a temple unlike the ones we've been to previously, but nonetheless a temple for Hecate. And we will also be working with a little bit of everything, a little bit of exorcism kind of coming through, a little bit of, how do I put this? A little bit of exorcism, a little bit of what's called in kind of shamanic terms, dismemberment. And this is not to scare us, but to allow us to fully be removed of anything kind of magically or physically or energetically, psychically that is taking from us. And finally, with that dismemberment, the final thing that I just think is very important to mention is tonight, kind of astrologically, Venus is actually literally half illuminated by the sun. And so this is actually a wonderful time to be connecting to that love, the dichotomy of love, the dichotomy of good and evil. It feels very relevant that we're doing liminal space work. And we're kind of working with that divine feminine Venus principle as well, of kind of loving vibration and loving dream energy. So that's all going to be coming in, and should be a really great second meditation as well. So if you have the time, I really recommend staying till the end, because we often spend a lot of time in the beginning kind of just getting our focus ready, but then we kind of go far and do the full Hecate work. So especially if you want to work with Hecate, we have to wait till the end for that. So with that in mind, let's get the music started, please. And everyone sit back, relax. If you have any tools you're working with today, bring them out. I'm not going to be directing us to use tools, but I might, if I feel called, kind of do some cleansing and stuff. So just be ready to receive, be ready to relax. We'll get into it. All right, everyone, let's take a deep breath in, deep breath out, kind of arriving here. I'm going to invite us to do a little breath work to begin. I always find it very useful. So we're going to inhale, and when I count to 9, when I say the word 9, we'll exhale. Inhale when I say 9, exhale when I say 9. So let's begin. 9 and 9. And 9. Nine. Breathing in 9. Breathing out 9. And one more here, 9. And one more, 9. We draw a circle around ourselves now, our energy as one, creating space for ourselves in the room, across distance and time, joining our heart beams and sacred tribe. If there are any parts of your mind right now or your body that are asking for attention, take a moment and kind of listen. And I will be offering some clearing. If you'd like, you can always put your hands on your heart or your stomach, or even hold yourself to kind of welcome your body, your mind, your spirit. Welcoming in. Welcoming in a strengthening now. Kind of cleansing you. You can imagine a kind of smoke overcoming all of us, surrounding us, and clearing us. Incensed, we welcome our allies. We welcome in any guides, ancestors. We welcome in the elements. We welcome in the 7 directions, the north, the east, the south, the west, the below, the above, and the heart. We'll do another set of breath work here. Again, if you are holding yourself, allowing for Reiki energy or universe energy to kind of do a little kind of checkup, diagnostic. And we're going to breathe in when I say 9, breathe out again when I say 9. And 9. 9. 9. And 9. Alright, taking a moment to honor now the great goddesses and the mothers, the divine feminine, the priestesses, as well as any priests and divine masculine, divine fathers that have honored the medicine work that we do, that have held this tradition that we are about to embark on. We honor Father Sky Uranos and Mother Earth Pachamama, honoring the liminal space for the sacred ceremony as keepers of the many planes of and dimensions of existence. We honor that we are the walkers between worlds, and we are together sharing in the energy of the blessed creation of that which we know is magic. And we let go of the stresses of the day, knowing we are in a safe haven, and calling in our own divinity, our consciousness, and our holiness. For we're here now to harness the self. We honor that our thoughts can be like the hurricane, and that we too are the hurricane, especially if we've been in the East Coast. We've been surrounded by storm energy. We honor the racing clouds, the rolling winds and the howling, the rain and tears and the disturbed waters racing. Sometimes we hold this energy within ourselves, acknowledging that this is great energy that desires freedom to remain wild and untamed. We acknowledge too that this energy can be harnessed, and that the roar of the unconscious can also live with the spark of the conscious. For all is present in the current moment. And at the same time, with all of this, we see that our own storm is might and incredible power, warrior god goddess that revels in being a force of nature, being a being of all elements and yet never tied down. Storms are universal in this galaxy and beyond. They are creative forces and passionate. And remember that this great beauty in the chaos is part of your being. We are spirit storms with many aspects of our lives in tow. Many parts connected through electricity and water vapors, through air and wind. And we can arrive as complicated as we need to be. We are the eye of the storm. Our third eye is that psychic link. We are that quiet self that moves at the center of our rush of emotions, our thoughts, and our minds. The eye of the storm is the silent psychic witness to all things. Sometimes feeling trapped, other times deciding for us, for better or worse, always trying to communicate, trying to work with love and compassion. Our consciousness is that which sees all, sometimes with judgment, but at a pure level connects to an awareness at the unconscious level. I feel called to kind of pull some energy out of everyone, so I'm doing that, sending to the fire. Got my vocal here, so taking away any blockages to that connection to the silent eye of the storm. You are here doing your best to be just as you are. For this eye of the storm is one point, a locus of power, pure connection to full conscious and unconscious awareness, so that they meet in balanced harmony. All power is one wild, untamed container of sense of self. That is the part of the self that sees without internal dialogue, that perseveres every morning that we wake up, and that dreams in other realms when we rest our heads for sleep. This I is the purity of awakened and activated existence, a one-pointedness, a luminous mind that has cultivated integration of wholeness and truth, a uniform joining together of completion in which we merge into oneness. So let us breathe into the silence of the eye of the storm for a moment. The unification point of all power. Let us be removed from all but altered state of consciousness. All thoughts leave us. All ideas are deleted. And our power is no longer filtered by conscious mind. Our consciousness is expanding to the outer reaches of our storm, allowing the trance to incorporate the chaotic and fully powerful self. We are becoming lost to the trance state of no mind, becoming empty of all need to self-organize. And here there is no self, no attachment to self, and an understanding that the self is impermanent, always changing, and yet eternally witnessing, eternally viewing. We are constantly working to meet our moral duties and dharma. But at the same time, these duties belong to a person who is never the same, and therefore is without self. And so we are empty, and we do not have nature. And life in many ways has no aim and no commitment. And we too are free from all, from form itself. We are becoming neutral and simply present, simply here. We are nothing, not one thing. All other forms of emotion and relation are illusion. And we are moving constantly into a state of growing knowledge and awareness. So let's take a moment of silence here in this space. We have become empty so that instead we can allow ourselves to be full of the totality of the powers of the heavens, of the divine above, and of the cosmos that is our origin. Through this all, we may find our magic at the heart and mind of the focused trance, coming into relation with the magic of the self and entirely filled by it, emptied of all that is not magic, storm and eye of the storm, conscious and unconscious, magic and silent emptiness. We become vessels only of lived experience, understanding fully the true power of that which can be chaotic, but also that which can be harmonic. And welcoming in a final practice as we near the end of this first meditation, to fully focus and comprehend the self, as well as the great magic and power that resides within. Really feeling our focused energy at that single central point, our psychic eye, our storm eye, in which all intent can be flowed through, and through which intent can be used to stop or start any parts of ourselves, any parts of the world around us that do not bring us what we need. All right, let's rest now return to the body, return to the room. We're going to take a short break in which you can get a glass of water. This will be silent, so I ask if you share, please do so in the chat. Otherwise, please no talking in case some people want to stay in dream space. But this is in case anyone actually needs a break, needs a moment to kind of break the chain for a second. So just be here. I'm going to mute myself as well. And I might even have a little water myself. And we'll get started again in maybe like 2 minutes. For those who are here again, I thank you so much for joining me, for sharing this wisdom. Once we move into our second meditation, it's time to honor the great goddess Hecate and meet her in her temple. Okay, let's get our second music started, and we'll begin on the hour at 8 o'clock. Okay. I like to begin with a prayer. This is an Arabic prayer, but I use it in every context, basically. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين صدق الله العظيم آمين. Let us all now come together and join so that we may meet at the temple of the goddess now, using our focal point, our third eye connection and intention, our eye of the storm, for that is our eye of wisdom, illuminated as if at the top of a pyramid. And that eye becomes our being as we are becoming removed of body and our muscles relax, Joints release, shoulders release. We take a moment of breath here now as we set our intention to be of pure spirit, pure focus of intent, a being beyond all physical reality. So let us breathe in 9. And breathe out 9. Breathe in 9. And breathe out 9. 2 more here, 9. 9. 9. 9. We see coming to us now the black dogs of Hecate, the black cats, the black panthers of Ishtar and of Lilith. For some, these beings may be seen as harbingers of something to fear, but they are not unnatural, and they are, in every way, connected to the natural order of all things. A collection of spirits associated with the goddesses of the night. So we listen to these growls, these barks, this cloud of noise, the clamor of the great clans of animals, the sound of the wild encapsulated. And we are invited to join their wildness and follow them on the path. Everything becomes dark around us, and we too are running with the packs of the creatures of the goddess. Above us are the stars, and Venus, Ishtar, Mercury, Hermes. Mercury comes down, a light in the sky before us on the path. Hermes and Thoth Tehot together, the flying psychopomps, the rulers of transition, mercurial, charming, a little forgivably devilish, interconnected with both the medicine people and the liars and the thieves. Rulers of sorcery, Chthonios by another name, ruling that traversement into the underworld, and husband to Chthoniia Hecate as his wife. I share a prayer with you all now. O Hermes, who dwells on Kokitos, necessary path of no return, who guides the souls of the mortals into Hades, child of Dionysos, Bacchic dancer, Kore from Paphos, you who serves the holy house of Persephone as a guide to the ill-fated souls of the earth, with whom you descend at the fateful hour, bearer of the sacred staff of sleep, who brings rest to everything, and in turn awakens those who slumber. For to you the goddess Persephone has granted the honor of guiding human souls in their relentless and eternal march into wide Tartarus. O Hermes, may you guide us with your staff, our souls tonight, those of us, all of us children of Uranos and Gaia. Guide us on this journey to a pure place filled with joyful voices and dance, with hushed sacred sounds and holy images. He relents and accepts, blessing us with his chthonic, mighty staff of sleep, so that we may become privy to the knowledge of all things. And he takes us along so that we may undergo this journey of sorcery, wisdom, and magic. We become alighted with the hounds, with deep rest, borne aloft in the wilderness of the dark, in the magnetic moment of magic, so that we may be taken on a windy ride through storms and vortex. And as we fly, we may see much of this landscape, of this great beyond, seeing the many roads that wind beneath us, becoming like roots of a tree, all connecting to a central point, a heart of focal strength. All connecting at the crossroad. Our vortex, our storm cloud, begins to swirl and swirl above this place, the winds gusting, a tornado brewing, swirling, pulling chaos out of us while honoring the chaos within. The collection of the many spirits that we hold with ourselves, acting as a filter, so that what is taken is not for us, and what is returned is what we need. There is thunder, and there is the great pulling and threading of our DNA codes as this tornado howls. A circle, a merry-go-round of sounds, swirling again and again. A great storm of winds that sounds like the wails of the ghosts of our past, the worries of the present and the future. And that tornado slowly unfurls. Until it touches down on the ground, placing us at the center of the crossroad. The wind picks up, ethereal thunder crashes, and the barks of Hecate's hounds are pulled away. The earth pulls up, all is stripped of its base elements. Hermes remains in the storm as he helps us remove any final threads or cords here, all being pulled up into the voidal night. We receive our final downloads, our final healing from this storm. Allowing wildness to replace any wounds. Allowing this wildness to supercharge us like a lightning rod. Until the tornado picks up again, leaving this place that we have been dropped off, so that there are only the winds around us, and that vortex is gone. Before us stands the great goddess Hecate, queen of magic, witchcraft, woman of the night, of the moon and the ghosts, and the raising of the dead, ruler of heaven, earth, and seas, carrier of the torches that show us the path to ourselves, companion to the great Persephone, protectors of those who have been done wrong, glowing and honored amongst all immortal gods, named by Zeus himself, Queen of the starry skies, who brings us our happiness as well as our magic, and triple goddess, with 3 heads, 6 arms, all facing, watching all roads. 3 women back to back in one, and all brows bearing crowns of horns. We honor you, dark goddess, of shadow and night, who rules over the underworld, the middle world, and the heavens. We honor the gatekeeper, goddess of daemons, keeper of the ancestors, who return to watch over us. I honor you as the guardian of the crossroads, the universal key holder, and tonight we seek your guidance, honoring you as the breath of the universe, the mother of the angels, praying for your assistance along the starry road. Hail Hecate, hail Hecate. May your reflection shine in our lives. You, the unconquerable queen of the vulnerable and marginalized. You, the torchbearer. Open the doors for us. You are downtrodden. Queen of witches, queen of magic, queen of medicine people. Bless us in this walk along the path, and may we honor you. Hail Hecate. Taking a moment to kind of drink in anything that you need from this introduction to her. Taking in anything that she has to say to you that is only for you, that cannot come through my channel. Taking a moment to listen. She regards us as her child, and we come to realize that this place in between is her temple. A temple that is one great ornate doorway at the center of the crossroads. This place that is her place of worship. A portal to the middle space in between. The opening of a tunnel that is forwards and backwards. Holding the mystery of the other side. A threshold into the realm of magic. So take in this doorway, which is her temple. She smiles as she opens this doorway for us with one of her hands. And we are given a peek into the universe beyond. This is also her temple. Also her place of the wisdom of the ancients. And here Hecate offers us protection from all. She is our leader, and she is also the leader of these ghosts. These ghosts that are ourselves. And any other spirits from the world around us. See what is comfortable for you to receive, knowing you are protected and you are not in danger. For we are surrounded always by spirit. What Babylonians might even call the Galu, the demons, and the monsters, as well as the helpful sprites. Knowing that some of these spirits are ours, and taking in a categorization of all that is ruled by the realm of Hecate. There is nothing that can do us harm here. There is only an understanding of the spiritual order of the universe under Hecate's guidance. Many of these are the ghost allies of the past, the friends, foes, ghosts that live with us unseen, and that so often ask to be known so that they too can be healed or can support us. These are the beings of liminal space, just as we too are a being of liminal space. For we ourselves are self and unself. So instead of a need to fix, allow for the possibility to be at peace with our need to order the chaos, and to simply allow for this world, which is spirit and unspirit, which is our friend and our foe. We are simply seeing, but Hecate protects us, and we are never in danger. She rules all here, good and evil. And today, she teaches us a lesson of the magic of knowing and unknowing. There are our ghosts and the ghosts of others, and we at the center, all paths leading to us just as they lead to Hecate. We are a locus of power, unaffected, pure self, part of this earth, but not of it, of something deeper. From one of her torches, she sends lightning to our hearts. And that electricity goes deep. She awakens within us Venus energy, Dark Lilith, Ishtar, Freya and Durga, these goddesses of love and magic springing forth as they are in the sky tonight, liminal just as we are. And that fire in our hearts begins to extend to the rest of our bodies without pain, surrounding us in a gentle heat of the past burning away. As these queens regard us and allow us this time of exploration of good and evil, of being in between, of the extension of sorcery. And let it all burn away. And we welcome in a magnetic attraction to love and to support, to the beauty in all things, to love which comes to the complicated self, love to the shadow and the chaotic, the Lilith self, the Ishtar self, the Eresh Gigal self. Welcoming in a love and a relaxation of needing anything other than that what is present. We can become comfortable with discomfort and know that as we move through the hard places, we are always opening new doorways within. Always opening new doorways within. We become blessed with a kind of love to the fact that we may never know just exactly what comes next. We may always have to live in limbo of watching the unfoldment of our destiny and fate. In this fire, we become ash, scattered to the winds. For we do not need to hold so tightly to that which we think we know. The possibilities are always endless, and so too are we. The medicine of dismemberment allowing for us to join the ghosts of all things, scattering our arms, our legs, our hearts, our torsos, and our heads. As this ash, we become these ghosts and travel now through the great doorway of the goddess Hecate, entering the void of the in-between, the place of no things, the place of the creation of all things. Our focus, our focal point, becoming all that we are, pieces of the fabric of the galaxies, of the void. And here we invite and attract alchemical wisdom, magical reality, flying as microcosm and macrocosm. Acting in the silence of all things as our full self in the temple of Hecate, in the door portal, even here we may take a breath in this silence as nothing, not one thing. In the liminal place of Hecate, the great power of the goddess of magic and sorcery. And slowly we find ourselves reconstituting now in the great womb of the magical Night Mothers, reforming, becoming and re-becoming. A return as a new, actualized, focal point, focused self that is all things and that is no thing. And we are held by these goddesses as if we were their infants, swaddled and protected. We are given a final lullaby. We are returning. The doorway closes. We give great thanks and a final prayer here. As the road is now clear and our body is waiting for us in this room, in this time. And we ask, Goddess, please ignite within us an awareness of our own creative fire. Ignite within us a passion to burn through the shadows of our lives so that we may find integrity in all we do, in all we dream, in all we are. Hail Goddess, hail Hecate, hail Ishtar, hail Freya, hail Shakti Ma, hail Cathonia, hail Cathonios, hail Hermes. Let's take a moment to absorb anything that we need to. And I'll open the space for shares. when I say. I'm going to now say goodbye to anyone who may be watching on Facebook. And we'll end the recording here.